Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Business by Referral Podcast. I'm Virginia Muzquiz, the Referral Diva, and you know me, I'm your host. Today, I am interviewing a visionary woman by the name of Fabienne Marneau. She is an intuitive business strategist, transformational mentor, and healing soul alchemist with over 4 decades of experience helping entrepreneurs and leaders uncover the hidden patterns that silently sabotage our success. She is known as the Ghostbuster of Hidden Patterns and helps clients release unconscious blocks, reclaim clarity and confidence, and align their business with their authentic purpose. Fabienne blends deep healing practices with practical strategy to support sustainable growth and meaningful impact. Through her emotional self-care tools, Organized for Abundance method, and international soul alchemy retreats, Fabienne empowers purpose-driven professionals to move from chaos to harmony and build businesses that truly reflect who they are. Oh, you're my kind of girl. Hi, Fabienne. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
First, tell me, how did you learn about the podcast?
Well, I think I met you at the Icon Maker or
probably Strategic Alliance Live. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably
okay.
That. Yeah. And then we have common friends and, everybody loves you.
Everybody loves me. Yeah. I try to be lovable. I don't always succeed, but.
No, but it's not only love, it's respect, I think. And that's what is important too, when you can combine both,
Yeah, I do have good friends. Out there. So Fabienne, have you always been a healer and a spiritual alchemist, or is this something that came upon you at some point? Give us a little insight into how you got to be where you are.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit unusual maybe, but no, I was born that way. I was born clairvoyant, very open. And so I always had been claircognizant. So I would know things that I had no reason to know or no way to know since I'm a child. And I started using my ability to remove pain in people's body when I was 9 years old. My mom had pain in her legs and stuff like that. So I would do massage on her and energy work. And then later on, I love to say also that the book that I'm finally writing now, I started writing it when I was about 9 years old. With a very strange title that is Sensuality of the Soul, because I always knew that we could feel our soul, that our body can feel our soul, that we are not separate from the soul. And then later on, I developed the strong belief and knowingness that we are that soul. That's the only reality. Everything else, it's an illusion of a lifetime, but our soul is eternal. And so we should take better care of that relationship we have with our soul.
I love that.
So that's why I call my business Soul Alchemy, because that's what I work with and help people to reconnect with the truth of who they are. I have on my website, I do paint. So I have some paintings, and one of the painting is eternity and stuff like that. And what I say when I made a video that shows the paintings, and the opening say, remember who you are, eternal and divine.
I love that. So when did you start doing this kind of as a business? What's your professional background and history?
Okay, so when I was young, I studied law. I was in law school and realized that it was not my call, that's not really what I was supposed to do, not my destiny. And then, so I worked for a big corporation as how would I say? It was like the Matra was like the NASA in the US, aerospace company. So I worked there for several years. Then I was fed up with that life. I wanted to know more about who I really was. I wanted to be separate a little bit from my country, from my family, just to be me and facing the truth about me. So I moved to the US and I opened a skincare business, and I had this path for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
So I know about
brick and mortar, like a brick and mortar day spa.
Exactly. So I had a beautiful experience with that, a lot of people working for me and so forth. I trained a lot of people, and I was mixing the rejuvenation, healing, and then the spiritual aspect, because I was doing healing therapy and workshops and retreats. So I always mix the spiritual and the physical. And then when COVID hit, I didn't want to deal with that anymore. It was becoming too complicated. I was not anymore in big spa because the industry changed. Now that's not how it works. People rent their own place.
Right.
So the whole industry changed. So I was on my own, but I said that's it. That's too much. It doesn't work. So I stopped that, and now I am 100% doing distant healing, coaching, mentorship, and retreats. I love retreats.
Tell me what is it that you love most about retreats? I also love retreats. It's kind of interesting because I am an introvert.
So am I.
When COVID hit, I moved to the attic, my husband moved to the basement, and we met in the middle for dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Like that was our life. And I got really comfortable up here. COVID, it appealed to me greatly. And then every now and again, I go somewhere and I think, oh, I really should get out more. But I think the retreat setting is just such a neat way to connect. So talk to me a little bit about the retreats that you do.
Sure. Exactly to say what you say. I am an introvert too. So I can be singing, dancing, I compose music, I am a singer, I can do all that. But for me, to recharge me and for my connection with the divine, I need to be alone. On that, I need to recharge, and I love water. I need water. So retreat combine what I was just telling you, the ability to connect the body with the soul. When you touch people, when you are physically present, it's amplified. But I do a great job at distance. I mean, Zoom call works perfectly fine, but it's enjoyable to be together. And then we talked earlier about the tribe notion. When you are part of a tribe, meaning among people who are kind of your soulmate spiritually, emotionally, and even with business, it feels good. It recharges you. And then that energy multiply. It doesn't add. It's not 1 + 1. It's multiplied. And that's why also even shamanic healing, when you have a chance to be with several shamans, it amplifies so much. And same thing with mediums. When you have a group of mediums, then your vision is completely increased.
It's not 1 + 1 is 2, right?
It's multiplied.
1 + 1 is 3, 5, 7, some fabulous number.
Yeah, it multiplied. So, for example, I had one retreat title that I loved. It's Design the Next Chapter of Your Life. So it's really open because we all have a next chapter. It can be kids leaving the house, empty nester. It can be a new business. It can be a new relationship. It can be a new physical experience because we get older, or we recover from sickness, or it's a very open topic. But what I believe is that when you create a group, a retreat, whoever is going to sign up for that particular retreat, they'll have something in common. There's a synergy, and there is how do you call that? And synchronicity, it's not hazard. So it will have a purpose to be together. And because I'm so, intuitive and tuned, I'll be able to read what they need and adapt, even if let's say they come for business and the topic is business. Like right now, we are planning a retreat in Hawaii for September, and it's going to be definitely helping business people to be able to market, to find their message and all that. And I'll provide the healing, all the introspection. The inner game, all that. Getting rid of the limiting belief, the imposter syndrome, the visibility blocks, all that. But even with such a topic, the group is going to have a specific energy, and I'll be able to tune in and say, okay, well, what about? And everybody's going to say, how do you know?
Right.
And that's what we'll do. I adapt, the adaptation is, and it's part of, anyway, my philosophy, my work. I do everything from the present moment. All we have is a present moment. Then we work with clearing the past and creating the future, but it has to come from the present moment.
I study a lot the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I really love what he talks about is that most people are defining their future from their past, and there's no present. So
Yeah.
it's just, and what's super interesting about that is you start to think about it and you say, but that's just having habits. And we're sold like you need to have good habits. But if you only have habits, you only always live Groundhog Day, right? Like it's always the same day, today, tomorrow, yesterday. And yesterday is just a chemical imprint. It doesn't really, it becomes today. It's just part of today, which is so interesting. So you have this big vision on your heart right now. And when you told me about it, I got goosebumps. And then I said, we should talk about it on the show. And then you got goosebumps. So that would mean that it's something we ought to bring up. So talk a little bit about this big vision that you have for the next thing that's coming up.
So as my new life with this business that I am currently having, I realized that one person alone is limited. We all have limitations because nobody has the whole cake, And what I want to provide for my clients is the whole cake. So I am creating a system, a program that include all the aspects of what is needed to be successful in a business. And then it's customized to the person who signed up for the program. Example, you are a marketer. I'm not going to teach you marketing. If you told me, oh yeah, Fabienne, I would like to do your program, I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to help you with your marketing. But I could say, okay, but maybe you want to develop your creativity and you want to meet people that you never had a chance to meet. For example, people who are in Europe and or Asia or whatever connection I could have. So anyway, for example, I have people in my team that are good with system. We talked about it. You have a fantastic woman who take care of your business with everything that is all the system, everything that is technical. We all need that, right? So if we don't have it, and if it's not our business to do that, we need to have access to that with quality, integrity, and all that. And to talk about my part, everybody needs to work on the inner game. And even if somebody think they are really good at that, because that's what they do, that's what they provide for others, we can never work on ourselves, never. So to give you, I don't know if you know Liz Bull.
I do know who she is, yeah.
So Liz and I, every Saturday, when we can, which is most of Saturday, because we really cherish our time together, we spend 2 hours together. 1 hour I work on her, and 1 hour she works on me. That is giving us so much confidence that we are taken care of, because we give all week, right? We take care of other people energetically, physically, spiritually. And we need to know that we are going to have that time where we can be with somebody safe and strong. There's only 2 other people I trust to work energetically and spiritually on me, but it has a lot of value for me. So that's what I would provide too for somebody who would be a healer, who would be an intuitive, who would be a visionary. They also need help with that. And mention visionary because even people who think they are good manifester, they may still suffer from an ancestral lineage pattern that is blocking their ability to receive. And if you don't receive,
run into that.
You cannot create
that so often. And it's super interesting because a lot of the clients that come to me, they say, I'm doing the giving thing. I know that, it's better to give than receive and givers gain. And, there's all these sort of, especially from the 1980s, positive psychology movement, right? Like if you just go put enough good stuff out in the world, good stuff is going to come back. And that is true. So it is true. All kinds of good stuff does come back. But one time a girlfriend of mine said, God rains blessings on your head. Put down your umbrella. So there's all these blessings, but raining on us, and we hold an umbrella so that they go off of us. And then we complain,
that we don't receive. Yeah,
that were
right,
empty.
right.
And it really boils down to, you know, somebody cracked that piñata open and you're there crying, I don't have any candy, but it's right there on the ground. All you have to do is go grab some.
Go grab some.
Go
Yeah,
grab
yeah.
some, you know, it's
You
right
get it.
there for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
that's why this vision is a tribe, and I'm going to what I include in my program is what I call the Lone Wolf Tribe. Lone wolf, because like I said, I am an introvert, and I find out that a lot of people in that industry are actually introverts, a lot of them. Sometimes they don't even know that they are, because they can be social. Like I said, I can sing, I can dance, I can, you know, I am very comfortable in the crowd. But to resource yourself, if you need to be alone to resource yourself, that means you are really an introvert. And so that lone wolf is addressing that kind of people eventually. And tribe, because if you are not a tribe, you don't survive. Wolves don't survive if they are not in a tribe. They are very powerful, but they still need each other. Same thing with dolphins. They can fight a shark if they are a pod. If they are isolated in the middle of the ocean, they'll be killed. Yeah.
Right. Well, we definitely need each other. And, you know, my entire business system is built on
that.
On that, right? So there's a British sociologist by the name of Robin Dunbar who did a whole bunch of studies on primates, which we are, right? We're not that far off from our primate neighbors. And he started looking at social structures of primates. And it's really, really fascinating. He talks about the nuclear family, which is like the big kahuna ape and his mama wife ape, and then their baby apes, right? Like just that immediate family. And then there's sort of the extended family with the uncles, right? The brothers and the sisters, the uncles, the aunts, and the cousins that are close. And then there's another one, which is sort of the second cousins and whatever. And then by the time you get out to the fifth circle, it's like they all tolerate you. You're like, you can stay in the vicinity, but the inner circle doesn't really know who you are. You're just there. And I started asking myself, how does that really apply to a network? I mean, if that's how we build our lives, if that's how we build our communities, if that's how primates behave, what happens when we look at that at business? And what I started to notice was that the most successful entrepreneurs, whether they were using SEO or paid traffic or email, it didn't matter the marketing tactic that they were using. They had built their concentric circles. They had built their inner circle. You were talking about Liz, right? Like the inner circle, the people that you let close to you, people that you let your guard down, the people who heal you, who fill you, who take care of you. And then there's another group that you have that's usually about 10 to 15 people. And then there's another circle. And so I started to really look at how those circles built themselves. And that's where I came up with the referrals on demand, Referral Nexus concept, which is the 250 people on your spreadsheet that you should be paying attention to. And then if you want to invite someone else in, they have to be better than someone on the spreadsheet. Like more useful, more aligned. They need to be better to be allowed on. And what starts to happen, and this is what I noticed this is Sir Richard Branson, this is Dr. Ivan Meisner, this is Bob Berg. These are all people that I've interviewed and spoken with. And that's how you up level your network. And that's how your business will grow in accordance with whom you surround yourself with, because those 5 inner circle people, Jim Rohn said it, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah. And
so
it's
that
true.
Inner circle is really important. But where are you so when someone leaves, let's say you decide that you don't want this in your inner circle anymore because this doesn't serve you anymore. Well, you have to find somebody to fit in. They come from the next concentric circle. So from the outside, people move in and move out, but you want to have all those different circles. And the biggest mistake that I see people making when they're out networking is they treat everybody as if they belong on their nexus. everyone is equal. In theory, we are, but not everybody's for me and not everybody's for you.
Right.
And so it's super important to kind of to be discerning about that. And I think that in terms of that lone wolf tribe, that idea that, you know, come find your pack. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
not everybody's going to be for everybody, but your pack is likely to be here, right?
Right.
The people that you need that are aligned energetically, they're aligned in their goals, they're aligned in their values, and they're aligned in their vision.
Yeah, and you can, and also you cannot be committed to too many people because it's not feasible. I mean, you won't have the time and the energy if you want to give commitment of your time, of your care. And a relationship is something that takes energy and time.
For sure. So one of the things that you shared with me was that you're out meeting a lot of people, and they're not filling your pipeline, your prospecting pipeline quite yet. So I'm curious, share with me, where are you networking? Where are you meeting people?
So right now, like I said, I'm new at doing it that way because I never had to look for clients. I had my day spa. I would have people come in to me, and I was booked all day long and successful and all that. But when I change everything to be exclusively online, then it's a new way of marketing and communication and all that. I consider myself as not totally a beginner because I'm moving along pretty well right now, but I have a lot to. I need to put in place all the system, and that's what I am doing currently. You know, to put all the systems so things are organized and kind of what you have with your VA and. But I love the communication and I'm doing very well with that. What I do is that I am very intuitively targeting the people. Let's say I am on a call, a networking call. I am not going to communicate with everybody. I let my intuition guide me. I'll take the name of people. That's how I connected with most of the people that I am planning to do the tribe right now. And then we have individual call, and then we build from that.
And are they aware of what you need? Like, how are you sharing with them what you need them to do for you? Or are you still in the stage of, are you still in sort of the getting to know you stages?
Well, what I do, yes, I want to be very clear to understand who they are and what they're, because sometimes, I'm sure you came across that, people are not able to articulate who they are and what they do.
Oh, the vast majority.
They are not.
Know what they deliver, but they don't know.
Yeah, they don't really know, how to present themselves. So I'm very clear when I say I'm the Ghostbuster. Hello, I'm the Ghostbuster. I'll help you get all the ghosts from your closet taken care of. Now, if you want to know how, we have a conversation and I'll explain you that I work with ancestral lineage patterns and this and that. But I know who I am and I know what I can do. So that already is clear. And then the second one is to be able to identify, okay, what really is your business? What is your magic sauce? What is your, and so I help people to express that because again, I go on those calls with people and they cannot clearly in only a few minutes tell me what they do. And I have to ask questions and go through their website and do all kind of digging and research before I can decide if they can be part of my tribe or not, because I'll do my homework. I'm not going to invite everybody.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's very interesting, one that we do in my mentorship, my 2-year mentorship program, is the very first stage. It sounds really overwhelming, but I don't require any number of calls, but I suggest that people do 100 what I call empathy marketing interviews. And really what it is it's a way to get comfortable with people and to start tuning in energetically with what is a good potential client for you and what isn't a good potential client for you. So it's a 6-step process, and I walk people through. It's identify the pain point, identify the desire, identify the need, like what kind of support does someone need, identify what they would be, what kind of person they would ever consider hiring to take them on that journey, who's going to take you on the journey. What would you invest in the outcome if you could get all that in place? You could get rid of the bad stuff, get all the good stuff exactly the way you need it with a person that you adore. What would you be willing to invest in that? And as they're going through that conversation, before they ever say, well, why don't I show you what I do? Most of the time I teach them they can cut the conversation at any time when they just start to realize, I'm not your person.
Yeah, it's not a good fit.
Your pain point doesn't resonate with me. Your outcome, I wouldn't know how to get you that if I had a gun to my head. What you want, like how you want it delivered, I'm not capable. So what's cool about it is that most people, when they're in a sales conversation, they hand over all the power to the prospect. And I said, no, you're not even trying to sell them anything. You don't even get to think about selling them anything until your body is like, oh, I got to work with this person. This is so amazing. Like until you can barely breathe, they're great. And they might be a prospect, but they're not it. And then we take all of those calls and we take the ones where you were like definitely not repelled, the ones where you're kind of like energy neutral, and the ones that had you, the hair on the back of your neck standing up with excitement. And we analyze all that so you can create your heck no avatar, your I would entertain it. Like this, it would be okay. I mean, it's not my ideal, but it would be good. Right. And then your super avatar. So we have all three of those. And when you can actually present that to a partner, the miracle that happens is that your partner knows exactly what's not a client, what's okay, and what would you like, what they should go for hard, who they should advocate for on your behalf. And it's a really interesting way for us to help our partners find the right people. Happened yesterday in one of my coaching calls. Somebody on the call said, oh, by the way, Jenny, I was talking with somebody and they said blah, 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 blah. And I was like, do you have this problem? And they said, yes. And I said, you should meet Jenny. And so she made an introduction and there's a deal being done. But it all has to do with that, with these avatars, like knowing exactly what those avatars are to do it.
I had exactly the same experience yesterday on a call with someone who realized that after they are done with her program, she's going to refer them to me to go to the cause, to clear the ancestral lineage, I mean, the real cause of their issues. She can help them with their present life, with their mindset, with emotions that are here, but not with the cause. She said, after they are done with me, I'll send them to you if they're open to keep working for a deeper work. And then, of course, through affiliate links, it's easy. And she's going to definitely promote the retreat and all that. So it was easy because what I did, I asked her to explain to me what she was doing in detail. So I knew that it would be a good fit. And when she asked me, okay, what do you do? She was like, oh, wow, yes. So we are complementary.
Right.
We can,
which is so important to really understand. Jay Facette used to have a brand called JVology, and he talked about upstream and downstream, right? So your upstream people they do a program with people and they create the problem that you solve. So for example, for me, I'm upstream to a VA agency. I work with solo entrepreneurs and I help them build a business and start to build out systems so that they can delegate those systems, but they don't need full-time help. They usually need, 8, 10, 12 hours. So I create the opportunity for them to hire, and then that VA agency gets the referrals. There's also this sort of the downstream part of my business. Okay. Actually that's kind of downstream. Upstream for me would be somebody that has people for me, right? For example, they interviewed them to do paid traffic and the person's like, I don't have even $10 a day to throw at Facebook. So they're like, okay, well then you need to go to Virginia, right? Those are the upstream. And then my downstream are the people that I can then send referrals to. And he's very clear about like networking with the people who who can give you that, particularly even the people that they don't really want, or the people who create the problem you solve. And then you want a network of those same people downstream from you, the people that can solve the problem that you create. So you have both of those. You have both of those, which I think is really, it's an interesting concept when you start thinking about who should I be networking with. And I would say, you mentioned that you have a lot of people who say like, oh, I'll help you. I'll help you. And particularly in some of the events that you and I have been at, the encouragement is just say yes, right? Like just say yes. So if we're doing it and you think you could just be like, I'll help you. I'll find a way to help you. But the most important people to follow up with are the people that actually can help you and know how to do it. And so those are the people that need to be the super priority. And I think sometimes we connect with people on, I really liked them, before we consider, do they have the resources, networks, and knowledge that I need in order to grow my business so that they can follow through. Because if the follow through is hard, if I have to invent something,
call you 10 times to have an answer, that doesn't work. Yeah.
Or if I don't have the thing that you need. Example, you're looking to guest on podcasts. And I say, well, if I ever have a podcast, I'd love to have you on it. Well, I can't really even follow through on that before I build a podcast. Right. If there's 10 steps between what I'm encouraged to say yes to, what I'm encouraged to offer, that it's probably not going to happen. So the follow-up doesn't. So I'm always careful to coach people to be judicious about where you spend your follow-up energy, and to really know what it is that is going to serve your business at any given time. Because you really can make work. I'm in a 28-day sprint right now. I have a curiosity about paid traffic, and there's a coach that I find him hilarious. And honestly, if I don't learn a thing and I don't make $1, it will be money well spent just to hang out with the guy for 28 days, right? Like some networks you just buy your way into. But then he sent out the first AI prompt, like, hey, do this. And I did the prompt, and it like created a new business for me. And I was like, whoa. No, I'm not going to build a whole new funnel. I have a funnel. Like I have this thing. This is the thing. So I had to go back and re-engineer the prompt so that I didn't get sent over there, which is another thing that I think happens to earlier stage entrepreneurs, right? A guru says, do this. And you're like, okay, but I was doing this. And it was kind of working. And I really only needed to tweak right here, like in the middle. I just needed to tweak. Right. And suddenly I'm like go-karting in Monaco. And I'm like, how did I get here? I don't know how I landed here, because
and now it's easy to do that. Yeah, it's easy to do that. And if we're a little bit ADD, forget it,
And you have enough experience from 40 years in a brick and mortar to know that you don't just up and like change courses, especially in a brick and mortar, like, oh, I think I should get a new building. No, that's hard work. There's so many things about a brick and mortar.
Although I made those mistakes, believe me. I moved around and even changed the name of my business. I mean, I did all the mistakes. I think you learn from it. I mean, that's what I said. Sometimes the best coach are the one who make the most mistakes, because they learn from it. I mean, very humbly, and I say there's not that many mistakes I didn't make. Like changing the name of my business. Hello, I had a fantastic website that somebody knew how to get traffic to, and it was phenomenal. I'm talking about 35 years ago, right? Back then, he was a genius, and I destroyed it because I changed the name of my business. Duh. So that shows that he should have explained me what he did, because I didn't understood what all that was about. I thought, that's not going to change anything. I'm just going. No, it changed everything.
Everything, right? I had somebody rebranded me about 5 years ago, and the branding was slick. It was slick and sleek and gorgeous and whatever. And I ran with it, and I rebuilt my entire business around it, and it failed miserably because it wasn't energetically aligned with how I view myself, how I see myself. And so I'm back to my original brand that is not magical. It's not alchemical. I mean, I am that, but I'm just much more
but you're not leading by that.
Yeah, I don't lead with that. And the reason that I like the referral diva, what I like about the word diva is one, it repels people if they like in a certain way. So judgy people are like, I don't want to work with a diva. But really what it means is a woman of extraordinary talent. And so what I want to do is make sure that every one of my clients is leading from their place of extraordinary talent, from that space of, you know, where are you, that diva? Yeah. Where are you, that
the genie? It's more the genie, you know, the genius zone. Yeah. Yeah, so because the diva can sound a little bit pretentious or superficial, when the genie is more the magic, but with wisdom.
Yeah. Well, I love the reason that I kept it. It's sort of like the word crone, right? So crone comes from a Gaelic word that means crown, which refers to your queendom. So, you know, your maiden mother queen.
Right.
But people use the word crone, and then the crone was turned into like the hag that gave Snow White the poison apple with the big wart on her nose. And so I still like to use it because I want to kind of reclaim it to its original use, right? Because it's the original use of diva. It was originally a compliment. It was an exclusive word. It was a word that was really reserved, particularly for opera
singers. For singing. Yeah, Maria Callas, definitely a diva.
Yeah. So I do love reclaiming words, especially I love taking words that have been used to cover the divine feminine, and I like using those words and then opening it back up and saying, this is what's in here. You know, this is the magic that's in there, which I love. So speaking of magic, you have a little something for our listener today. Can you talk a little bit about how they can get in touch with you and maybe experience a little bit more?
Sure. Well, I have something very simple that everybody can use. It's a 5-minute instant peace guided meditation. So 5 minutes. And what it does, it protects you from any negativity. And it keeps you so at peace, energized. And then it's a tool that once you practice it several times, it becomes you. You are going to stay in that light. It's a guided meditation with a cocoon of light, and you stay inside the cocoon of light. That's one gift. And then I have another gift that is another practice. So I guess we'll give the link.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, and then they'll be able to access it. And then, of course, if they have questions and they want to connect on my website, what is my name, FabienneMarneau.com, they can book a discovery call and figure out if we are a good fit, if there's anything I can do for them. But for your information, 90% of people have ghosts in their closet that are coming from the ancestral lineage. So since I specialize in ancestral lineage, I know I can help 99% of people if they are open to that.
Well, it's in the scripture.
Yeah. And you don't need to have a belief around it, you know, because I work with all kinds of people with different background, religious background or whatever. And I said, it's not based on a belief, it's a reality, an energetic reality. When you go to your doctor and they ask you if there is somebody who has high blood pressure within your parents, you don't say, well, I don't believe that DNA can be, it's not a belief, it's a reality. Well, it's the same with your soul. It's the same with your energy pattern. It is a reality. That you understand it or not, it is a reality.
And it's documented, right? They say the sins of the father will be visited on 7 generations, not a curse. It's just a declaration of reality, and 7 is Kabbalic. It's a perfect number. It's not a literal number of 7, but it's what it basically
says. It represents actually almost infinity, you know, because
you are going to carry this unless you put it down. My shaman says, I say, well, you know, but my mom, blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, guess what? I said, what? He goes, if you picked it up, it's not hers anymore. It's not hers anymore. You own it now. You brought it forth. So either you put it down or it stays, right? And so I think that's really valuable work. And I think that, dear listener, you really ought to go grab these meditations and grab these practices and have a chat with Fabienne, because even if it sounds hyper woo, I don't think many of my listeners would associate me with that kind of light work and that kind of medicine work, but I'm deeply entrenched in it. And the more I work on that, the more money I make, the happier my clients are, the better I sleep, the better I feel, the more energy I have to contribute to myself, my family, and the world. We can poo-poo the woo-woo, or we can give it a shot. And as my guide says, you have a belief, and if you want to keep it, you're going to have to prove it. If you can't prove it, you have to replace it with something better. So I encourage you, listener, to go ahead, grab this meditation, spend some time with Fabienne. And if you're wondering how to get clarity around how to get your referral partners to give you more business, download the Business by Referral Blueprint at masterconnectors.com/blueprint. And on the other side of that gift, there's another one. Get your blueprint and then claim the secret gift that's right behind the wall of that. And you'll get to join me to do some fun stuff. So Fabienne, awesome. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
And listener, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said thank you. That was great and very natural. And I am not a woo-woo person.
There you go, right? It just all sounds so woo.
No, I am a very practical, logical person. It just happened that we all have the same gift. Some of us recognize them and some close the door. I never close the door. That's all.
Yep, there you go. And so, listener, you got what you need from today. So until the next time, be remarkable.